In this video, we're learning about coterminal angles. So for the first part of the video, I'm just going to explain to you guys what coterminal angles are and give you some examples in degrees and radians. And then for the second part of the video, we're actually going to do some problems where we have to find angles that are coterminal to a given angle. So at the top of our screen, it says coterminal angles are angles in the standard position that have the same terminal side. Let me show you guys what I mean by this visually. So let's look at this coordinate grid over here on the left. I'm going to do this one in degrees. So this is 0 or 360 degrees over here. So I'm just going to label all of our quadrant angles. Up here we have 90 degrees. To the left we have 180 degrees. And on the bottom we have 270 degrees. So first we have to understand what standard position means. So when we're drawing angles in standard position, what that means is we want to start at the right side of the x-axis. So this is going to be our starting side of our angle. And our terminal side is going to be where our angle ends. So let's say we want to draw the angle 45 degrees. We're going to move counterclockwise from our starting position. So we're going to kind of go to the left, counterclockwise. And this is about 45 degrees. And then we're going to draw a line where it ends. This is going to be our terminal side. So I'll label this terminal side. So that's how we would draw 45 degrees. So coterminal angles are angles that have the same terminal side. So let me show you guys what that means. So we have 45 degrees and it ends at this blue line. I could also draw an angle clockwise, so going backwards, which means it's going to be a negative angle. So this would be negative 315 degrees. That still ends at that blue line. So 45 degrees and negative 315 degrees are coterminal angles. And there's an infinite number of coterminal angles for 45 degrees, or any given angle. And I'll show you guys why. So if I start at the pink line again, it's going to get a little messy. And I want to go around once 360 degrees and then 45 more degrees. So I've gone 360 plus 45 degrees. So I've gone 405 degrees. That starts at the pink line and ends at the blue line. So that is also coterminal to 45 degrees and negative 350 degrees. So I'm going to say 45 degrees, negative 315 degrees, and 405 degrees are coterminal. And because you can just keep going around an extra 360 degrees as many times as you want, or going backwards 360 degrees as many times as you want, there are going to be an infinite number of coterminal angles for any given angle. So now let me show you guys how this works in radians. It's going to be the same thing, but radians are a little bit trickier for students, so we're going to go through it. So over here on the right, we have 0 or 2 pi radians. Up top, we have pi over 2. To the left, we have pi. And on the bottom, we have 3 pi over 2. So now let's draw the angle 2 pi over 3. So remember, we're going to start over here on the right. And we want to go 2 pi over 3, which is maybe somewhere like this. And so it's going to end over here. This is going to be our terminal side. So I'm going to write this in as 2 pi over 3. And now we're going to figure out some angles that are coterminal with 2 pi over 3. Well, first let's do the backwards angle, so the negative angle that ends at this blue line. So if we go like this angle is going to be negative 4 pi over 3. And the way you could think about that is 2 pi over 3 minus a full rotation of 2 pi. And if you actually do out that math, you should get negative 4 pi over 3. And now let's do the same thing that we did for the degrees. So we're going to start at the pink side and we're going to go an extra rotation around. So we're going to go around like this and we're going to go all the way back to this blue line over here. So we've basically gone 2 pi over 3 plus an extra 2 pi. And if we actually solve that out, we'll get that this green angle is going to be 8 pi over 3. And don't worry if you're having trouble understanding how I'm getting from 2 pi over 3 to 8 pi over 3 and things like that. That's what we're going to do in the next slide. So in this diagram, we've just shown that 2 pi over 3, negative 4 pi over 3, and 8 pi over 3 are coterminal angles. So now that we kind of understand coterminal angles, let's go through 4 problems where I'm going to give you guys an angle in degrees or radians, and we are going to find some other angles that are coterminal with it. So now that we kind of understand what coterminal angles are, we are going to do some practice problems. And what we're going to do is find a positive and negative coterminal angle for each angle that is given. And at the top of the screen, it says to find coterminal angles, add or subtract multiples of 360 degrees or 2 pi radians. And that's because, as we saw in the last slide, in order to find a coterminal angle, we can just go around forward a full rotation or backwards a full rotation. And a full rotation in degrees is 360 degrees, and a full rotation in radians is 2 pi radians. So let's jump into example 1, which is 210 degrees. So to find an angle, a positive coterminal angle to 210 degrees, we are just going to add 360 degrees. And 210 plus 360 is going to give us an angle of 570 degrees. And now if we want to find an angle that is coterminal to 210 that is negative, we can subtract 360 degrees. And 210 minus 360 is going to give us negative 150 degrees. So one answer is 570 degrees and negative 150 degrees. These are not our only answers. You could continue to add 360 degrees to 570 or continue to subtract 360 degrees from negative 150 to get different positive and negative coterminal angles, but I'm just going to do the easiest ones for this video. So now if we take a look at example 2, we have pi over 6. So we're in radians, so we're going to have to add or subtract 2 pi to our given angle. So pi over 6 plus 2 pi, and now we need to make a common denominator to add these. So I'm going to keep pi over 6 as is, and I need to change 2 pi to have a denominator of 6. So I'm going to multiply it by 6 on the top and bottom, so I'm going to get 12 pi over 6. Now I'm going to add the numerators, so pi plus 12 pi is 13 pi. Keep the denominator as is, so we get 13 pi over 6. And we're going to do a similar thing to find the negative angle, but we're going to subtract 2 pi. So we're going to have pi over 6, and we're going to change 2 pi into 12 pi over 6 again. Pi minus 12 pi gives us negative 11 pi on the top, and we have a 6 on the bottom. So we get 13 pi over 6 and negative 11 pi over 6 as 2 possible answers. Moving on to example 3, we have negative 400 degrees. So let's start by adding 360 degrees to negative 400 degrees. So when I do negative 400 plus 360, I get negative 40 degrees. So I still haven't gotten up to a positive angle because negative 400 or 400 is bigger than 360. So we found a negative coterminal angle, and now we're going to use that to find a positive one. So we're going to take negative 40, and we are going to continue to add 360 until we get a positive answer. Negative 40 plus 360 gives us positive 320, so we've got a positive angle. So we get negative 40 degrees and positive 320 degrees as 2 possible answers. And finally, example 4 is negative 12 pi over 5 radians. So I'm going to start by adding 2 pi. And we need a common denominator. So I'm going to keep negative 12 pi over 5 as is and change 2 pi to have a denominator of 5. So I'm going to multiply it by 5 on the top and bottom to get 10 pi over 5. And now negative 12 pi plus 10 pi is negative 2 pi. Keep the denominator as 5. So again, we still have a negative answer when we added a full rotation. So we're going to take that answer and add another full rotation to find a positive coterminal angle. So we're going to add 2 pi. Again, we need a common denominator. So negative 2 pi over 5. And we know that 2 pi is the same as 10 pi over 5. And now when we add, we should get a positive angle. So negative 2 pi plus 10 pi is going to give me 8 pi. On the top, we have 5 on the bottom, so we get 8 pi over 5. So hopefully this video helped you guys understand what coterminal angles are and how to find them. Just remember that to find coterminal angles, you're just going to add or subtract full rotation. So either add or subtract 360 degrees or 2 pi radians, depending on what units your angle is given to you in.